This is my second Dutch Bros ever. I had my first one yesterday, and pretty damn good. They are so nice there. And like, I guess that may not be like a universal Dutch Bros thing, but they were so cool. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Emma. This is not my normal filming area, as you can tell, probably. Maybe, I don't know. I like briefly talked about it at the very end of my last vlog, but basically I've been staying in a hotel for the past couple days. I have some doctor's appointments that they chose to spread out throughout the week, and I wasn't able to drive up and down each day because I live kind of far away. So I've been staying here. And not gonna lie, the hotel like low-key freaks me out, and I think it's because I've seen a few episodes of Criminal Minds more recently that involve hotels. I haven't watched any Criminal Minds since I've been here, which is like a comfort show for me, but like I just can't, and I've just been doing classes from here or sitting in my car, so yeah. Basically, we're here on a very sad note today because I have zero freaking self-restraint and no willpower, which is kind of the same thing, but I needed to say both. I am planning on, well, I had planned on reading 25 books before I could buy another book. And that was going great for a bit. I read 6 books. And then I broke my pact thing. Is it a pact if it's only with yourself? So, as I mentioned before, this hotel kind of creeps me out sometimes. Especially because I hear noises like of people going in and out of their rooms, and holy shit, it sounds like they're in my room every time. When I'm like trying to fall asleep and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. Not trying to complain about it. I'm very lucky that I'm able to be here and not drive down each day for my appointments because I have classes all day as well, so it would be very difficult. Basically, this is a long-winded way of me saying that I found out there's a Barnes & Noble close by, and so I just walked around in there for a while because I felt safe. It felt just like a safe space, like no one's gonna like murder me in there, you know? You never know. Just because they read books doesn't mean they're not. I'm not gonna finish that. And it was a bad idea because, one, I walked around in there for a long time at one point, and then I just felt bad. Like, I had been in there for so long that not buying a book just felt rude. Which, you don't have to buy books just because you were somewhere for a while. Like, you don't really owe them anything. I still, no matter how much I preach those lessons, I still need to learn them. So, I bought a book, and then I went back today, and I even kind of had a book in mind that I wanted to get. And so I got that plus 4. I'm just gonna talk to you about this really quick. It's gonna be a really short book haul. Sorry I keep like moving too. I'm just like really restless in here. I don't know. Am I talking to them? Can they hear me? So let's just start talking about books then. The first one I got is The Hazel Wood by Melissa Albert. This came out probably around like 2018. I had heard about this and like I was kind of on the fence about it. I was never really like super intrigued by it, but it was like still interesting and I just didn't know, you know? This book follows a girl, I think, who has a grandmother who's an author of like sort of fantasy type books, and the girl's mother goes missing or something, and it's something like it's the monsters from the grandmother's stories that captured the mom, and something like that. I think the grandma's dead too. I was also aiming for a book that wasn't as expensive because there were a few other books, like I can think of at least 2 off the top, at least 2 off the top of my head, that I wanted more than this book, but this one was like $10 and the other ones were like $26, and I was like, no. And I think it'll be kind of quick to read, and so while I'm here, since I have nothing else to do besides sit around or sit in my car, I am gonna try to read as much as possible and also get schoolwork done, but like, you know, we have priorities. My priority is school. Anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna try to get as much reading done as possible, so maybe I'll get to this. That'd be pretty cool. The next two books are in the same grain of books. What am I? That's Hamlet and Macbeth by Shakespeare. I love the Folgers editions, and you've probably, I have a video about Shakespeare, and the Folgers editions are just a lot easier to read. Like, I've read No Fear Shakespeare before, and that has been helpful, but the Folgers editions are just really helpful. One page is the text of the play, and the other page is completely notes or a little summary if it's at the beginning of a scene. And it's so unbelievably helpful to just look to the other page and like see the notes sort of line up, instead of like looking at the bottom in tiny ass font. So yeah, I have other Shakespeare plays in these editions, and I've liked them a lot so far. The only one that I own that I haven't read is The Tempest in the Folgers editions. I have a couple other random editions that are just like really clunky. Yeah, but The Tempest and now Hamlet and Macbeth are the Shakespeare plays that I own that I haven't read in the Folgers editions. We're gonna break the spines right now because I love doing that. There's like notes in the beginning and then the actual start of Macbeth, and then there's even more notes at the end. And so what I've been doing is breaking the spine right at those points. And so where the spine is broken, inside that is where what I'm like actually going to be reading, because let's be honest, I'm not going to read all of the preface stuff. Maybe like a little bit, but it also just feels sort of like a ritual at this point, like this book is mine. And just kind of like getting to know it, like we're bonding. I'm breaking its spine, you know, just girly things. Now they're officially my books, there's no going back. Next up is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman. You know, I don't know if Terry Pratchett has other books. I haven't read any of them if he has. But basically, I want to make my way through Neil Gaiman's backlist, and I already own a few books of his that I still haven't read yet. I know I'm going to read this at some point anyways, and so I was kind of just like, this is a really cheap edition. And I like the style of it. I have no idea what this is about. On the bottom it says, The Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter, Witch. Oh, okay. According to the Nice and Accurate Prophecies of Agnes Nutter, Witch, the world's only completely accurate book of prophecies written in 1655 before she exploded, the world will end on a Saturday, next Saturday in fact, just before dinner. So the armies of good and evil are amassing. Atlantis is rising, frogs are falling, tempers are flaring. Everything appears to be going according to divine plan, except a somewhat fussy angel and a fast-living demon, both of whom have lived amongst Earth's mortals since the beginning, have grown rather fond of the lifestyle, are not actually looking forward to the coming rapture, and someone seems to have misplaced the anarchist. No, the Antichrist. So it seems really interesting, and so far I've loved everything that I've read by Neil Gaiman. Maybe I'll just like read Neil Gaiman for a month or something. That'd be kind of fun. Or a week, I don't know. We'll see. Next up is Sea of Strangers, Poetry and Prose by Lang Lee. This is a poetry book, you guessed it, and it just caught my eye. The cover's like really chill but really pretty, and I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of reallys, and I was like, interesting. Then I looked at the back and I was like, I need to buy this. If they were meant to be in your life, nothing could ever make them leave. If they weren't, nothing in the world could make them stay. And I was like, deep, man. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably know that I really enjoy poetry. I've read mostly only modern poetry. I do have some like classic poetry books, like I have a Robert Frost book, Walt Whitman, Lord Tennyson, that's his name. I kept wanting to say Terry Pratchett, but that's so not his name. I really enjoy poetry, and I have read a lot of like older classic poems, but it's been more like in like just reading one singular poem or like a little tiny collection of poems. Basically, I really like poetry, and I have found that I do really enjoy modern poetry. There are a few books that I've like loved. All of the other ones pretty much get around 3 stars because it's like a half and half. Half the poems I'm like, I buy it. The other half of the poems I'm just like, I don't buy it. The last book is the book that I went into Barnes & Noble today kind of planning on getting, even though I was like I knew that I was on a book buying ban. It's envelope poems. So Emily Dickinson, I don't know, who was this put together by? Someone had to combine them all. I don't know, it doesn't say at the moment. Emily Dickinson wrote a lot of poems on like old envelopes that she didn't use anymore or something like that. And so someone collected them all and made a little poetry book out of them. It makes me smile a little bit because it reminds me of like my mom and I, specifically my mom who does this a lot, just like she writes notes on everything, and like envelopes are common for that if they're nearby. And so it makes me kind of happy, I guess. So I haven't read any of Emily Dickinson's other like collections. I think I've read like a couple of her poems, and so I figured I would start with this because it's a smaller version of her poems, so I can read a little bit and decide if I want to read like one of those big collections later on after I finish this. I think that's like a good place to start because sometimes you just don't vibe with a poet. This actually has plastic on it, and I'm gonna take it off because that sounds like a fun thing to do right now. Okay. Oh, that's really cool. It seems like they have the picture of the poems, like of when they were originally on the envelope, and then they have like a little, I don't even know if you can see that, like a little recreation of it, but typed up so that you can read it better. But yeah, on the back it says, although a prolific poet, Emily Dickinson, 1830 to 1886, she did not live for very long, published fewer than a dozen of her 1800 poems. She preferred not to, and among the thousands of makeshift and fragile manuscripts of Dickinson's later writings, we find her envelope poems. Damn, I can't speak. Intensely alive and charged with special poignancy, addressed to no one and everyone at once. The selection of Dickinson's envelope poems and fragments gathered here remind us of the contingency, transience, vulnerability, and hope embodied in all our messages. So on the front, it has like a little fragment of the envelope, and on the back, it's not translated, but transcribed. Is that right? In this short life that only merely lasts an hour, how much, how little is within our power. Damn, am I gonna have an existential crisis while reading this? So it was a pretty short book haul, and I'm glad for that. And as much as I'm like complaining about the lack of willpower and that I bought more books when I wasn't when I wasn't supposed to, I am still really excited to read each of these. And so it's not like I just bought books because they were there. These are all books that I'm interested in enough. I think the only exception sort of to that is the Hazel Wood. But it's been on my radar for so long that I just need to know at this point. Like I just want to find out. I think that these are books that I can definitely see myself reading very soon. And they're not the kinds of books that I'll buy and be like, oh, and then put off forever. At least I hope not. I'm trying to like crack down on like, Emma, you bought this book 4 years ago and you still haven't read it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit different. I mean, literally just the background is kind of different. If you guys enjoyed it, please give it a like and comment down below if you've read any of these or if you want to, or what you're currently reading. I'd love to know. Probably won't buy it for a while, but maybe I already own it and I'll actually read it based off of your recommendation. Who knows? Or maybe you're like, Emma, this book sucked, and then I'll be like, okay, mental note, don't read that. I hope you guys have an amazing time, and I will see you later. Bye. My stomach hurts, man. Like, that's upsetting.